Gods and goddesses in training, welcome back to the channel. It's Uncle Makuro. You guys are gonna have to excuse me, I just woke up from a nap, and so I am integrating from some healing that I did the other day. Man. Okay, let's get started today with today's video. This is a topic that was asked by Swan. Thank you, Swan, for asking. This is in regards to psychic powers, and more specifically telekinesis, and how we can bring all of the energy into one place. But first and foremost, I just want to have some disclaimers, okay? Practice makes perfect, right? So the more you practice doing something, the better you're going to get at it. Oftentimes we don't give ourselves time to practice these abilities, or we forgot these abilities, or we are ascending into these abilities. Okay, there's different schools of thoughts around this. So once again, take my advice with a grain of salt. This is what's worked for me. The other day, as I was just telling someone, I put my hand over the escalator and I sent my intention, I want this to stop. And I felt the escalator actually stop, and it actually tripped me out. And the security guard was looking at me, and he's like, huh? He got really shocked as well, right? And I was like, yeah, I have magical powers, that's how it stopped. And I just started laughing hysterically. And he was just so confused. He was like, okay, we really need to fix this escalator. Yeah, I've been having these visions of Magneto, maybe like a couple weeks ago too. So that was very interesting how that happened. But yeah, man, shout out to you, Swan. Shout out to everyone from Thailand. I used to live in Thailand like 4 years of my life. So, Swadee Krab, let's get started, okay? Number one, you want to practice concentrating on a black dot. Use this specific model, okay? Ta-da! And you simply set a timer. I can send you the image, by the way, as well. You set a timer for 5 minutes and you just practice looking at that black dot. Slowly, you might also notice the aura around those different objects, okay? Once you look at the black dot, you'll notice that at your peripherals, the objects will start gaining almost a glow around it, right? This is another technique you can use to read auras and so forth as well, but that's for another video, for another time. Now you want to try the same thing, but do it with a picture or an image of something, okay? So it could be, let's say, a flower, okay? So you're looking at this picture of this flower, and in your mind's eye, I want you to imagine that everything is coming into a focal point through your third eye, right? So you are setting energy from all of your chakras, from the root to the third eye, and then you're concentrating out onto the picture of the flower. And now you want to practice sort of merging with the image, right? This is a yoga. So you merge with the image. You gain a union with the image. So you concentrate, what do these flower petals feel like? Are they smooth or rough? Are they cool or warm? Is it wet or dry? Can you feel the temperature of the flower? Now you can imagine that the same flower is like flower petals are growing on your body itself. So you were going from that focal point, that dharana, that single pointedness, into a spreading, okay, to let the emanation of the energy move along, right? So you're this kind of like this, right? As soon as you concentrate on both and you feel the petals, slowly switch from looking at the petal. Now try to visualize you looking from the petal. So one of the petals of the flower, right, is what you're zooming in on, but you are now at the vantage point, the perception, the perspective of the petal, according to the other petals, the center of the flower, the stem, and everything else, right? And you can allow your consciousness to go into the top of the flower, middle of the flower, bottom of the flower, and so forth. Know what it feels like to be the flower. You're just swaying in the wind, perhaps. Then, as you've been doing this for a little while, you take your attention away from the flower, and you just return to your normal vantage point, your normal point of view. You're not the flower anymore. And this is more advanced training, obviously, so you can do this for 15 minutes, but some people I've seen, they can do this kind of practice for an hour where they feel like they're just becoming the flower, right? It's because they're going from the very, very minuscule details, like the little dewdrops on top of the petal, you know, like the stem and how rich it feels, you know? And you really start changing your consciousness. As you do this exercise, you will feel relaxed, but you will feel like you have plenty of energy. You won't feel drained. In fact, I love doing this specifically more so with deities, with deity yoga. That's a different, separate point, okay? That is something that I teach in my mystery school. So if you are interested more so, you know, you can always reach out to me, join the Adepts, you know, mystery school, and we can actually study this stuff on a deep level. But yeah, I do these kinds of practices to sometimes re-energize myself. Like right now, as I told you, I just woke up from a nap. Now I just feel so much energy as I was just mentally picturing being a flower, right? So we had level 1, we had level 2. Now it's time to move on to level 3, commencing, okay? So level 3 is easy for some, and others really struggle with this one. So you remember how we were practicing with the black dot? Now I want you to look at your finger, have this thing out, right? Look at the tip of your finger where it's pointing, and you will notice the object you're looking at. In this case, you can use this image, okay? Imagine that these objects are gonna merge together, right? So they're gonna go to create one synergistic effect. So what you wanna be doing is, after you get really good at this practice and you're kind of blurring the background like a subtitle, like when you watch movies, right? So you're going from object, subject, object, so the tip of the finger is pointing straight towards that image where the black dot would have been. Now we move on to level 4, and you try it with a post-it note. You try it with a sticky note, and you imagine it, you're moving it away, right? Using the wind. Now you want this post-it note at eye level, exactly eye level. So wherever you're sitting, you want to make sure that it's not too high and it's not too low. One technique you can try is imagine your brain waves creating like a wind effect, right? You can also try it with a pen, okay, on the table, and just blow on it to see that it won't move away very easily, right? There's a lot of resistance there. Boom, okay? Very easy. So there'll be a lot of fake telekinesis videos out there as well. Now, a lot of weird fake psychics and, you know, fake telekinesis videos are out there, but don't let that take away your belief. I think your belief in this is actually one of the most important things, right? So you have to actually unlearn some of the dogma about this stuff, that this isn't real, you know, that's stupid, that's not gonna work, why are you even trying that? You know, you're gonna get a lot of comments from people dissuading you from this practice, but don't let that get to you, because you want to get so much into your God mind or your goddess mind that you basically transcend those ideas, okay, as you're doing this. This is why, you know, maybe doing a little bit of a breath work or meditation beforehand can help you with the concentration element. So this power of visualizing, and so much so, if you get very, very advanced at this, you can even visualize, like, let's say your cells changing and becoming healthier. You can stop yourself from getting sick, right? Or you can visualize like, oh, you know, my spine is healing, you know? Or you remember Dr. Joe Dispenza, him using this technique, he was completely paralyzed, right? But he used visualization to what? In order to change the energy around. And one of the greatest breath works that I highly recommend is the Dispenza breath work. So You squeeze your intrinsic muscles, which means perineum, lower abdomen, upper abdomen, chest, head, top of the head, right? You clench, clench, clench. You bring that energy up and you squeeze your entire body. And then you let it go. Okay? And you do this a couple of times. This breath work is very good for taking away those limited emotions into higher emotions. So this will be very, very good for, like, if you're struggling with some, energies of trapped trauma in the body, or like, different sadness or a feeling of sorrow, it's going to get you out of that this breath work is very powerful for that. But it will also, you'll start to notice that your abilities are coming more raw, right? Your visualization abilities are becoming more crystal clear. So your body and mind has its own rhythms of life. Your heart beats in a very specific tune, which creates a vibration, which connects you to all other vibrations around you. So imagine you're like one vibe, and then there's these other vibes around you, other people, environment, and so forth. So this is what I'd recommend, because different food makes different people sick, right? According to their allergies and so forth. So my advice to when would I practice doing this would be your own time where you're thriving the best. Maybe it's evening or nighttime for you, where you have more melatonin secretion and you can access this better. Or you can even notice that, hey, I can even do this during the day and it's better for me actually during the day. So there's no set rule like that, like you have to do it in a specific time. Something that I really like to do to get energy in one place as well is sometimes just noticing like my peripheral vision, and then slowly it comes into a more convergent focus, right? More of a divergent open to a convergent. So I imagine like an outer layer of a bubble, like maybe an etheric layer, an astral layer, like that. So one bubble, another bubble within that bubble, another bubble within that bubble, within that bubble, right? And it keeps going until it gets to this point. So what I do is inhale, hold, clench, pop the bubbles as I exhale. Again, expansion, pop, right? Get into the practice of this too. That's going to really help you. Now, if it really doesn't work, you can actually use the energy and imagine at the center of your palms where it's coming from. You will notice if you do a lot of yoga, this point start buzzing. Okay, it starts buzzing with energy. Okay, and so the more yoga you do will actually be helpful, because it circulates the chi or the prana. You could also try this technique. I remember a practitioner taught me this one. So you have like a mason jar or a jar, and you put a feather inside the jar so there's no like wind that can affect it from the outside, right? And you slowly imagine, again, you're becoming the feather. You're becoming the feather, right? You're taking on the consciousness of the feather itself, what it feels like, how it moves, maybe you can even try how it thinks, right? You can take on hypotheticals, right? But as you start merging your consciousness with that consciousness, then you can try to slowly allow it to lift up gently, and you just envision that, right? Remember, belief first. You have it within you. And you also mentioned you've been doing this for a while, and on rare occasion things have happened. So it's all about just maintaining that discipline to continue with these processes, and absolutely double down on your own psychic or psychokinetic or telekinetic abilities. Okay, it's up to you. I've given you the guidelines. Now go forth and prosper and flow. Thank you for watching. Have an incredible day. May the flow be with you, and may you never be the same again. Us.